Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Kavinsky's Tutorials. So today I'm going to do a spoken walkthrough of Loop Mangler by Igor Vasiliev. So what we've got here is two instances of this. One is processing axon 3 here. So this is the dry sound coming in, and this is just doing live processing of that. Now we can also load samples into this. So this is an AUv3. It also runs standalone on iPad and iPhone. It's also available for M1 or higher Macs, and on Mac it will run in hosts that allow you to load AUv3s, as well as being able to run standalone in Mac. I'll put a link to the App Store in the pinned comment of this video, and I'll put a link to my Patreon as well, where I currently have a giveaway for people, for paying Patreons to Patreon subscribers to win any Igor app of their choice. Those winners will be picked a few days after this video, so if you're not a member yet, you might have time to get in there and enter that giveaway, and it's a great way to support me. So thank you, all my lovely patrons. So let's look at the app. And I think I'll look at it first just on this instance of Noir here. Okay, so that's the input. Just real regular 4 in the floor beat. So LoopMangler, excuse me, LoopMangler is a sequenced FX app. So if we look here, we can see the audio coming in. And then down here, we have this grid where we have cells, and we can see this passing along here. So basically here, this is in 4/4 time, 16 steps. So each of these is a beat, and so each of these is a quarter of a beat. And so here, this is the first FX bar. So what that means is that this is like a little mini FX chain that is going to kick in on the third little section of the first beat. So it's not going to come in right away, and it's going to basically process this, and it's going to be first a glitch effect, followed by let's see what that is again, a filter, okay, yeah, and then here a delay. And then over here, so this is the start of beat 1, this is the start of beat 2. And look, by the way, how long this lasts. So this will last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it'll last 1.5 beats. Now, here, this little triangle here means that the filter and the delay, their time is linked to this. You can disable that down here. And so then over here, halfway through beat 3, this chain will kick in, which has a glitch, and then that will go through a gate and then a filter. And then over here, halfway through the 4th beat, we'll have a stutter effect going into a comb filter, and then some noise and a decimator and a gate. Okay, so that's the basics of this part of the UI. Now, the make button is your best friend when you first get this app, because this will allow you to randomize stuff. And some of the naming here is a bit weird in my opinion. I find it hard to remember what things do because of the naming conventions. I mean, this might be just me, I don't know. But let's look at what we've got here. So all these different things, and they will all basically randomize in slightly different ways. So I think for this, maybe I'll just switch over to this. So let's just randomize. So the first one, this means pattern rhythm. And one thing we might do here is just, I'm going to change this from effect to gate. I'll talk about this in more detail maybe a little bit later. So here I've changed the effect to gated. And what that will do is, if you see here, this shows the duration of the effect. So that means here, these cells don't have any effect. Here, this column, that will still be affected by all of these. Then here we got no effect. So if this is set to gated, then here we'll just have silence, right? So pattern rhythm, that will create little affected cells, or so parts of beats that will be affected with some unaffected bits in between. Now then, if we go to the next one, pattern fill 1. If you see here, these lines go all the way across, and so here there is no part of the incoming signal that will be unaffected. And then here, this one, let's just check. I need this in the manual in front of me to remember what some of these are, because they are not very intuitive. So this one makes a pattern where effect bars follow without gaps, but can be shifted from the start of the beat. So you see, like here, for example, this is not falling on the start of that third beat, it's halfway through. So if I go back to this one, you see here, these will always fall right on the start of the beat. And so this one called pattern bars, this, let me see, pattern bars, does not make a pattern, but replaces existing effect bars with new ones, preserving their position and duration. So it will change the effect types in here, but it won't change where the effects start in the beat and how long they last for. Then the next one, bar random. So this will make a new effect bar at the current position of the marker, right? So look where the marker is. So this created an effects bar, as it's called in the terminology of this app here. An effects bar is just like a little effects chain that happens at a certain position in a beat. This is very important to understand the way bar is used if you're looking at the manual, because otherwise a lot of things can be very confusing to you if you're thinking that it means like a bar as in 4 beats or whatever here. So then the next one is bar envelope. And so here, this will change the envelopes and envelope forms for all effects of the bar at the marker position. So let's say I put that marker here and press that. You'll see that none of these changed, but their envelopes will have changed, and we'll look at envelopes in a minute. And here, if we press this, it will change the envelopes for things in the row that the marker is at. And then here, bar effects, glitch, pulse, stutter, and slowdown. So what the manual says is mix one of the specified effect bar, so for example glitch, at the current position of the marker, right? In this case, the bar will begin with one of the effects. So let's say, for example, I press this, then in my understanding of the manual, what should happen is this one should change to pulse in this square. But what I find happens instead is that pulse is being created beneath that. So I don't know if there's a mistake in the manual or if there's a mistake in the implementation of the app, but the behavior in the app does not really match, at least the way the manual reads to me for this. So that is the make part. Here shows the BPM. Here you can switch between this pattern view and this loop view. So loop, this will allow you, if you load a sample, so let's go up and load something. So let me load this one here, for example. So now we're not hearing the drum machine at all, okay? It's just this. So here we can repitch that. Okay, pitch it up, anything up to an octave up and an octave down. And you can also control fade in, fade out, and crossfade times. So here about dealing with samples, if we press on more and click samples, we can see the samples that I've already loaded, already imported into the app. And if you want to import more samples, just press import and it'll open up the file selector and you can add in more samples. And then you just select a sample that you want and you can delete it, rename it, and so on, or you can load it, right? And then what else do we have here? We've also got settings and more. I won't look at those. If anything's not clear, you can check it in the manual. And here, this help section, which will open the manual. Okay, so then if we want to change back to processing the input, just press input. Okay, so you can see with the input signal taken out, depending on the effects, we still might have sound because there are various effects in here that can produce their own sounds. So let's look at a few other things. So for example, I can copy this cell or the bar, or the row grid pattern, and then go and paste it somewhere. So for example, let's just copy this cell and paste it in here, right? So you get the idea. You can also clear cells or, clear various other things. Let's just clear that cell. You can move. So for example, let's move this bar. Let's move it right, for example. Okay, now this is where I really wish that it had undo and redo buttons. Instead, I've got to go in and do it manually. It would be really nice to be able to just undo and redo that kind of thing. So many of Igor's apps would really benefit from undo and redo. Maybe it's technically difficult to add. I don't know why it hasn't been added yet. I've really been wanting that to be added for a few years, I think, already. Then, so pattern, if we click on this, this will open up various controls related to this, well, no, actually a few different, this is more related to the pattern, in fact. Some things about the UI still get a bit confused about. So if we want to see the contents of this cell, then we would click on FX here. And so that shows us that this is a gate type effect. And if we click here, we can change that. So we've got a lot of different things. So we can gate it. So basically, cut out the audio. We can put in glitch or stutter effects, pulse. We'll demo these in a second. Decimate, like a bit crush, that sort of thing. Filter and a comb filter and a slowdown effect and noise and we have two different delays. When we choose different effects, like let's say glitch, for example, you can see over here, we now have some different buttons that will change things about how that sounds. Like for example, here we have different modes for glitch, and we can optionally add a low pass filter at different frequencies, and we can control the threshold, how strong the input signal will have to be before the effect is triggered, things like that. Then over here we have the envelope related stuff. So we can choose the shape of the envelope, and then we can sort of narrow it and widen it. I think with all of the envelope shapes, maybe you can always just easily just turn them into a square to just turn an effect on or off immediately. So yeah, we have all those different effects. So let's just demo those quickly. So if we go in and let's just set the init preset, and let me just click here, and we can see this is empty. So let's add something, for example, well, let's just start with gate, okay? And so let's change the number of steps. So let's just say, make it, let's say 8 steps long. So let's play that and bring that in again. So if you see, it's not really gating it very much, is it? And that's because of the envelope shape there. So let's, change it. Let's see, when it's a square like this, then now it will completely cut out at the beginning here and then fully come in here. So, we want that shorter, then we can just change the number of steps. And again, we can change the envelope, change the envelope shape, right? So, okay, let's put this back on, just on off. And let's change the effect type. So there are other things you can control over here. Can't remember what that difference is between that gate and cross. It'll be in the manual. So there's glitch. So let's see, you have these different modes. They can really sound quite different. I'm not going to go through all the different parameters for controls. And let's just make it a few steps longer so it's a bit more noticeable. So there's your stutter, and you can control the lengths and things like stereo or ping pong. That's kind of cool, isn't it? This pulse thing, I think that was amplitude modulation or something. Again, it'll be in the manual. Decimate, now again, you've got various controls over here to alter the sound. And there's no dry or wet amounts. So comb filter. So if you want something more subtle, you could use it as a send effect. Just set up the routing in your host app. You can hear the comb filter there. So definitely need to play around with these things a little bit. That's nice, isn't it? So we could slow that down even more. I like that. Noise, for example, we have various types we can choose from. I don't really like the noise one all that much. I usually turn it off using the clear button. So remember that in the pattern section we have settings for delay times, but we can also increase this amp thing here to get something more noticeable. So let's put on a slower delay time. Yeah. Okay, so those are the effects that you get. And then here you can control how often the effect will happen. So if it's set like this, let's change the effect to something a little bit more noticeable here. Let's change it back to that comb filter. So if it's set to 1 out of 1, that just means it will happen every time. Every time this loops back round, the effect is always going to sound. And then if we change it, clicked out of that accidentally. If we change it to something else, for example, here it will occur 4 times out of 5, 3 times out of 4, 1 time out of 5 down at the bottom here. So the occurrences will become less frequent the further down the list we go. And you also have other controls, like for example, various controls for the input signal. You can boost the bass and treble and add saturation and stuff. And you can add an exciter to the output and enhance the bass. And you can have an EQ gain with a frequency control here. And sound quality is always great in Igor's apps, and the usual, double tap to reset things. I'm guessing this is for, is this for stereo? I can't remember, it'll be in the manual. You have things for the speed of the limiter as well. So then here, if we go back to the pattern section, there are just a couple more things that are worth explaining before we can maybe demo a few presets and finish up. So time signature, number of steps. If you increase the number of steps over 16 when the time signature is 4/4, you'll get this little view popping up. And this is just kind of like an overview. So here is that first beat, and this represents the first quarter of the first beat where we have this cell. So that is represented by this yellow here, and because we've got no other cells active, everything else is blank here. Again, we got that toggle between whether it's gonna let the input signal come through when there's no effect on that part of a beat, or whether it's going to let it through. Time for delay 1. And delay 2. And then here are a couple of things. So these are related to something about the way randomizations will happen. So if it's glitch 0 and glitch 1, glitch 0, this will generate glitches on odd numbered beats. Like for example, this is this is beat 1, right? So we got a glitch there. So if I change this to 0 and press make, it seems that now if there's any glitch, it should only be allowed on like beat 2 or beat 4, even beats, not on odd beats. So that's how that works. And then one more important one is here for the delay, random. So any these delay times can be changed to any random values from this list. Just pick one of these. If it's set to user, then whatever you have set here will not change. So this would be useful. Let's say you knew that you wanted this delay to be like a dotted eighth or whatever. You could just dial that in and leave this on user. And then when you generate a new pattern, the delay time will stay as what you set. And then, so if you change that to off, then there won't be any delays generated in the effects here, or the delays will be off. Can't remember if it actually will create the cells or not, but whatever, you just won't have any delay effect in your affected signal. So I think that's all the main stuff about the app. Let's go back to this just simple 4/4 beat. Let's just take this and let's just randomize. So again, you know, maybe be a bit of trial and error to find things that you like and things that you don't like. I said I would go through the presets. So again, remember you could change to gated. I do quite like gated. And again, remember, you don't even really need input with most of these presets, at least to get sound. So definitely one for those who love glitch, and I think much easier than Beat Cutter, and also easier than Glitch Escaper. Although they both have randomization options in them as well. And again, you know, don't forget you can remove things you don't like. Just clear. Okay, so hope that was useful, everyone. If it was, please smash the like and write a comment to help the algorithm. If you're a fan of my work and you have the means, it would really mean the world to me, and it would also really help make it more likely that I can keep doing this channel, which is honestly extremely up in the air. You know, if you go over to that Patreon and subscribe, it would just be fantastic, honestly. All right, everyone. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.